And we are live. Welcome back to our third ever Pistons Jack subscriber only live stream where we'll chat with people from the community, let them have their voice heard, and we'll talk about our favorite team, the Detroit Pistons. We have plenty to discuss, plenty of off-season stuff going on at the moment. So today should be a really good show. We're starting off with my man Prince, who always is here and ready to go with some hot takes and some very good insights about the team. We should have some more people joining as the stream flows on. But if you have any topics or anything you'd like us to discuss, throw them in the chat and we'll go through them. But we've got a couple of things to chat about today. Firstly, I want to have a chat and look into some of the players the Pistons need to re-sign. There's been a lot of chatter this week about should the Pistons extend some of their younger players, and there's also some of the vets who are crucial to this team's success who need to be re-signed as well. Or I'm keen to just gauge the community's thoughts on where they are at with who the Pistons should re-sign. And then I want to take a look at, it's probably a bit early to be doing this, but we are in a bit of like a little bit of a dead point in terms of player movement and any of that kind of kicking off for a couple of weeks. So I want to look ahead to where the Pistons might finish in the East next season. I know there's a lot to play out, but we'll just do it in a bit of a fun exercise based off what we've seen in the playoffs and how the East is looking next year. Can the Pistons, with a couple of tweaks here and there, really push for a top 3, top 4 spot in the East? So that's enough for me, though. We'll get into a lot more in just a moment. I'm going to bring up my man Prince in just 1 second. Prince, what's going on, brother?
Doing great.
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great as always.
Love to hear it, bro. So I should know this. I feel like this is people from Detroit might not be happy. They're not. Are they buffs? No, they're not buffs.
Yeah, these are Cartier buffs.
They're buffs. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. I love it, bro. Are they new? Have you ever worn those on the stream?
No, these are my dad's. So yeah, they're super expensive. So I think he got them in Detroit. But yeah, just wearing them for the stream.
Those are fire. I love them. I need to get. I don't know how I've been to Detroit twice and still haven't gotten a pair of buffs. I feel like I might not be able to pull them off, to be honest, but I still need to get a pair.
Yeah, I know sometimes they give them away at Little Caesars Arena.
Oh, really? They didn't do that when I was there. Maybe next time. Well, let's just get straight into it, man. I think last week we spoke a little bit about the playoffs and how this team will look. So I'm going to leave that topic to a second. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Pistons vets and who you would like to see them re-sign. So just a bit of context. Obviously, because Cade Cunningham made All-NBA, the Pistons now go from having, and I believe that was announced literally a week ago while we were streaming. So the Pistons have now around 17 to 18 million in cap space. It's dipped down from about 25. Someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but essentially now the Pistons have that amount of cap space to re-sign these 3 key vets if they want to do that. So my question to you, Prince, is if you can only re-sign 2 of the vets of Beasley, Hardaway, or Dennis Schröder, which ones are you re-signing? Maybe you only want to keep 1.
Yeah, that's such a hard question. If it was up to me, I know we signed Tobias, but I low-key do not want him next year. I mean, he's such a great role player, but I don't want him next year. But
Tobias.
If it's yes, Tobias. I mean, Tobias is such a great player, but I feel like if anything, I feel like we always do better when we have the team with the other vets, you know. Tobias is still a great player though. I can't lie. But yeah, that's always been that to me. But of course, 22 million is really can't do that. But out of the 3, I would probably say Beasley and Schröder. And yes, I love Tim Hardaway, and it's such a hard choice, but I feel like with Beasley and Schröder, I feel like they are 2 of the biggest role players that we truly need. And of course, Tim Hardaway, I feel like Tim Hardaway, he has his nights that he's good, and he has his nights that he's bad. So I feel like it's a very bipolar schedule for him when it comes to how he plays. To me, and I
Yeah.
feel like Beasley and Schroeder would be the best options for me.
I think a lot of fans would agree with you. Shout out to my man Lewis. What's going on, bro? He certainly agrees with you. Keep Beasley and Dennis Schroeder if the money is right. So let me throw so that now that you said those two players, I want to throw some scenarios at you. So some of the things I've been listening and reading to are the Pistons can keep offer Beasley. They can use it's. I don't want to get too technical here, but basically, it's called the non-tax players mid-level, which is around 14 million per season. Would you offer that to Beasley? Would you be comfortable with something like that value, 14 million a year across maybe 3 years or something like that?
Yeah, of course. I feel like, of course, I
Yeah,
would offer that to Beasley. I just need to make sure he's on his P's and Q's. Like, if he was not like shooting well during the off season, then probably not. But if he's still like that same Beasley that we had this year, then of course I would do that for him, because he only is paid what 6, 7 million.
yeah.
So I feel like if anything, that's not even offering too much. I feel like Beasley deserves it after this season that he's had like a breakthrough season, you know. So yeah, I feel like of course I would offer that to
Yeah, I think that's fair as well, and I think someone might correct me once again. I'm still trying to learn all this cap stuff. It's so confusing.
him.
I'm trying to do my best to understand it, but I believe if he was to accept that non-taxpayers mid-level, the Pistons would still have that other 18 million in cap space, which would then open up. They can do a lot more with that. So I'm with you though. Like just going back to the start of the question in terms of who to keep, I think you have to keep Malik Beasley. Um, I'm not exact like I would be happy with that value that we just spoke about. I just think he was so good for like the culture of the team. Obviously on court in the regular season, he was unbelievable. Like I know a lot of fans were down on him during the playoffs. Like I remember Princey came on a couple of times
Yeah.
after those playoff games, and like
Mhm.
he probably would say himself he didn't live up to probably the expectations he had. But I just there was so many times in the regular season where I feel like maybe he didn't single-handedly win games, but he would definitely like win us quarters when we were struggling. Like if Cade didn't have it, he was the guy once Jaden Ivey was out to like come in and give us that scoring boost. So, and then Dennis Schroeder, I'm like, I want them to bring him back, but I also know that like there's like Dallas might be very interested. So, um, because we have Ivy coming back, I wouldn't be too devastated if we lost Schroeder, but I think he would definitely be someone good to bring back. I
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I just thought about that too because I feel like with Tim Hardaway, it would be great to bring him back, but I feel like at the same time, Tim Hardaway, his body is not very good to me. I mean, he's gotten injured a couple of times. Of course, they were day to day, but he's gotten injured a couple of times, if I'm not wrong, this season. So I feel like he's very prone to injury, but at the same time, we will have Ivy back. So I feel like within everything, if we wouldn't really need Schroeder if Ivy is also on his P's and Q's. Like if we can get Ivy back and he actually does well, then I feel like we really don't have a specific need for Schroeder because that would mean that we would have to have a third point guard, and meaning we would have to like possibly get rid of Marcus Sasser. And of course, I feel like Marcus Sasser is a good like trade like piece this year. Same thing with Simone Fontecchio. Like I feel like if
yeah.
anything, if we can trade them, that would be pretty good. But yeah, I feel like yeah, of course I'd love to keep Schroeder, but I feel like Schroeder is only if something happens to Ivy. And that's really how he showed out this entire season.
Yeah, no, definitely. And YouTube user just has some good insight here. Kind of correcting me on that mid-level I was talking about. So they can only use the mid-level if they keep all cap holds. That means only signing your own guys. Okay, so that I appreciate that YouTube user. I need to do a little bit more research, but um no, I think overall I'm with you. I actually, to be honest, I think Tim Hardaway Jr. got kind of a bad. I thought like in the playoffs he was definitely more steady and like provided a lot more than Malik. And I just think with both of them, though, like you kind of said, I think there's a lot of overlapping between them, like in terms of what they bring to the team. So if one of them, you can't bring them both back.
Exactly.
From a financial standpoint, I think Beasley's definitely the one to bring. But I did appreciate what Tim did this season for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's still there on the team next season. But before I jump ahead, Prince, was there any thoughts or takes you've had in the past week? Anything about the team that you've noticed? I saw you talking about some stuff in the chat about the jerseys.
Yeah. So on my TikTok, basically, I was like, all these people are doing these rankings on TikTok, and I was like, you know what? I'm a really big jersey guy. As you can see today, I decided to wear my Ben Wallace jersey, which I surprisingly got from my neighbor. And if you know, I live in Atlanta, so it's very surprising that my neighbor saw me hooping outside, and she was like, "I always see you hooping with this Pistons stuff." I had this Ben Wallace jersey that I was finna give to Goodwill, and I was like, "Goodwill, this is Mitchell and Ness, like perfect conditions." I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that off your hands." But I was talking about how I never liked when we had the gray jerseys. Black jerseys are good, but like somebody in the chat said, we're usually not very good when we have black jerseys. And I said the best jersey that we've ever had, which is a really big hot take, is those red Lightning jerseys that we had in 2021. So that was just some
Yeah,
quick little hot takes that I
those are
had.
like my favorite. Those
Mm-hmm.
red ones in Cade's rookie season, and they had like
Mm-hmm.
the bluish light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love them to bring something. Like I would love them to have red permanently in like the rotation
Exactly.
somehow.
And I love how they're
Those,
bringing like an alternate version of those jerseys back next season. So, yeah, those are the only jerseys that I consider better than the teal. But maybe it's because I never really grew up around the teal. I mean, the only time we did wear the teal was when we had a pretty bad season in 2023. Yeah. So, I was just talking about some jerseys. I just wanted a quick little debate with the chat.
I love it. And I think we've got your mum in here, by the way. This is your mum, isn't it? Glitz Glam 470. Shout
Yeah, but
out.
my
What's up?
aunt,
Was that your aunt?
my aunt
Oh,
Lauren.
I accidentally brought. We'll get to that one in a moment. But the boss up, I actually learned. Boss up, is that like a dance?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
would
Yes,
you
I
boss
thought so.
up and get this
Yeah.
money? Yep.
So after the game 6 loss, yeah, I was looking pretty devastated just sitting there. And oh man, my memory's shot, but this guy came up to me and was just like teaching me like the boss up dance and just lifted the mood so much. I think his name started with J. Oh, I can't remember. He was just teaching me how to boss up in the crowd after the Pistons just had this devastating loss. It was just like it was such a
Yeah.
cool moment.
Yeah.
And
So
shout
my
out, your mom's
aunt,
so generous. Thank you
uh-huh.
so much for the donation. I really
Yeah, my aunt
appreciate
was in
it.
the chat. Lauren Span. Yeah, my aunt was there, and Ben Wallace is the best defensive player. That's a big
Facts.
hot take. Yeah. So
I
yeah,
love it.
I love the support. I would definitely thank my mom for you.
Appreciate that. And shout out to Maddie as well, who can't join us, but appreciate you, brother. I hope you're having a good night as well. But where were we? I've got some more stuff I want to chat about, but we'll go on through some jerseys here. I think your aunt says she like the black bad boy jerseys are my absolute favorite. Which
The
ones are
one from last
they?
year? The one from last year?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes, from the season we were really bad. Those are very
Yeah.
cool jerseys. So
I mean, we had a
yeah,
terrible season in them, but I feel like every time we have a really good jersey, I feel like we
yeah,
have a really bad season. Like when it came from
yeah,
1997 to 2003, I feel like all those
yeah.
jerseys were bad. Even in the 70s when we had the old Lightning jerseys, those were tough, but we were bad. But yeah, those black bad boy jerseys, they were very nice. I think I have a Cade Cunningham one that I lost that was
Yeah.
black from the one from last year. That's how I feel about the ones from this year. I necessarily did not really like the cream ones from this year. I mean, they were cool, but I feel like they were a big copy and paste from last year. And if anything,
Oh,
Mhm.
so you didn't like them at all? Because when they initially came out, I was a bit skeptical, but then once I saw them on court, I actually really liked them and ended up getting one. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I
because
don't
they're
like
still
them at
yeah.
all. They grew
Yeah.
on me over the season, but I feel like when I first saw them, like when it first leaked that we were getting those jerseys, I was like, oh. But I feel like I feel that way about all the jerseys. Like another like really underrated jersey is the ones that we had, the Saint Cecilia ones that we had with the teal jerseys. Those were
Yeah.
nice. Those were very nice.
Those were
I even
cool.
my dad got me one for my birthday that year. So like that jersey right there, that's a really great jersey. But I feel like those ones that we had this year, they grew on me over time. But I feel that way about all jerseys when I see them. Even with the ones that we're gonna have next year, I didn't like them at first, but I feel like they grew on me. You know, they are really nice in the end.
No, I love it. And Lewis says here, I prefer the OG white jerseys, but as far as alternates go, it's the teal for me. I love that. And Lewis, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
jump on, my man, I'm not sure how many more subscribers we might have joining. So let me know if you want to jump on because we can get you on after. But also just for people who might be watching on Twitter, if I don't get to your comments, they seem to come through later and I seem to miss them. So apologies if you feel like I'm not reading your chats. They just come in at weird times on Twitter. So it's probably best to watch via YouTube. But Prince, back to what we were talking about. What do you think? What's your final thoughts now on the jerseys for this season? 25, 26.
The city jerseys.
Yeah.
What I really, really want, and I think it might be another year before we get this, I really want a new statement jersey. See, my mom, she likes the base jerseys from this year, but I love the statement jerseys. Like when it debuted with like the little photo shoot with Cade and Sadiq Bey, when they had those jerseys, they're very, very nice. But I feel like a new statement jersey would be great. I just really don't want any gray in them. Like gray in the statement jerseys, it didn't look right, especially when Cade had them on their rookie season. I didn't like when they had the gray, but my final thoughts on these new jerseys, I like them. I like them. In my ranking of jerseys to date, I put them number 3, and I feel like they're great jerseys. They're great jerseys, and I feel like within everything we could put, especially having a good team playing in the jerseys. That's what really matters to me. I feel like if we can have a nice and cool jersey that we can wear while also being good in them, I feel like that's really what makes a jersey good and memorable, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree for sure. The gray
Mm-hmm.
ones I was never really the biggest fan of those. They just don't pop or something when they're on the court
Exactly.
either. They're just a bit bland, even though I get the meaning of like the chrome and gray in relation to
Mm-hmm.
like Motor City and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
Prince, I can see Maddie's actually joined the stream, so we'll go to him next.
Mm-hmm.
But the last topic I wanted to chat about with you, and I think we've got another family member in here. Nephew.
My Uncle
definitely
Marcos.
not talking
I feel like my
about
Uncle
me.
Marcos is the biggest is the biggest Pistons fan other than my dad that I know. It's Uncle Marcos.
Let's go. Man, we'll have to get him on the stream one day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Prince, the last thing I wanted to do with yourself was looking at the East next season. And we're doing this a bit early because a lot can change for sure. But looking at the East next season, there was 5 teams that finished ahead of the Pistons. So I just want to ask you, and obviously the Boston Celtics are without Jason Tatum. So I'm going to go through those 5 teams, and I want you to tell me if you think the Pistons will finish higher or lower than them. And we'll just have a bit of conversation about how they're looking for next season because I think there's a real case that we can make some real noise. So at the 5 seed this season was the Bucks.
We're going to be higher than the Bucks. Definitely, because they're not even going to have Giannis. So I feel like, well, that's a rumor, but if anything, they're not going to have Giannis. So I feel like the Bucks might be like the same as the Brooklyn Nets in them. So of course we're going to be higher than the Bucks.
Yeah. Okay. The Pacers. They were 4 seed.
They're going to the finals. Well, I'm not going to say anything too early, but they are going to the finals. So
yeah,
I feel like they might be the 1 seed. But yeah. So no, I don't think we'll be higher than the Pacers, but I do think we will have the 4 seed, definitely.
All right, and then we have 2 interesting teams here. New York were 3rd, and then Boston was 2nd. So we saw how we get went against the Knicks in the playoffs this season. Obviously, we still lost the series, but it was very competitive. I think we're a good matchup for them. Then the Celtics are going to be without Jason Tatum for the whole season. And they're also probably going to have to trade one or two of Porzingis and Drew Holiday. So they could be potentially without three of their starting five next year. Still think they're going to be competitive, but do you think that they're going to be missing a few key pieces?
Yeah, I think we're going to be better than the Knicks. So I feel like our ceiling is the 2 seed, but I also see us getting the 3 seed. But if anything, finishing out the season, like by the end of the season, I feel like Cavs are going to drop. I think they're going to go to like 5, 6, like where we were. So I feel like if anything, I think we're going to be the 2 seed under the Pacers. I feel like the Pacers are going to have another breakout season because I feel like they're going to
Yeah.
get new additions in the offseason. And who knows, they might win the finals if SGA sells. So if anything, of course, I wouldn't want to see that. I do not want to see the Pacers. But seeing the Pacers win the Eastern Conference Finals is something you don't see a lot in lifetimes. So, of course,
Certainly.
I think Pacers are going to be number 1, us being number 2, and maybe the Knicks number 3. But I don't think Boston is going to be good. So I feel like if I could get like all of them, I would say number 1 is the Pacers, number 2 is us, number 3 is the Knicks, number 4 is probably the Cavs, number 5 is the Celtics,
Yeah.
and
The one
number
team
6.
The one team that I could see, like the one team to be on the lookout for that finished below us was the Magic. So
Yeah, that is
Orlando,
true.
they had a very weird season. Like low-key, I think we might be like, I think we've shown we are a better team than them now because they've got some real weird stuff going offensively. Obviously, they have 2 really good players, but they missed like Franz and Paolo missed like a lot of games last season. So they're the one team that to keep an eye on as well who could make a rise too. But
Of course, they can make a rise.
Yeah, I'm with you though. I don't know about 2 seed. Like, I just that sounds crazy to me, but
I know
don't think you're
it's
crazy.
big.
No, I don't think you're crazy. It just sounds like I'm not used to Detroit 2 seed. Like that's not
Exactly.
But I really do think like we could be a 4 seed, 3 seed. I really do. I think yeah, it's exciting.
I think we're
Like
going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think we're going to be the second best team in the East other than the Pacers. And I feel like every time us and the Pacers do match up, whether that be the in-season tournament or just a regular season game or maybe even in the playoffs, I feel like that wouldn't happen if we were both the 1 and 2 seed. But I feel like in the Eastern Conference Finals, I feel like we could definitely be the second best team in the East. And I feel like that's our ceiling. That's our ceiling. I feel like Eastern Conference Finals is also our ceiling. But I feel like the Pacers are great. And especially with Orlando, Orlando is having a very, like you said, weird. I'm glad you spotted that out. I really only know the Orlando players because of Michigan. I'm a big Michigan fan. And actually, I want to show this on the stream.
I saw.
Just to let you know.
I think I saw.
National champions. Well, not anymore. Ohio State won, but national champion. Just wanted to show all the state fans in the chat who's on top. But of course, Orlando, they're going to be definitely number 6, number 5, maybe. But I saw they got out in the play-in, I think. So they're going to be big. And did you say that Jason Tatum isn't going to play next season?
I know some Celtics fans are like, oh, he could come back in February or March. I just feel like players, they miss the whole next season after an Achilles. Like it's just, I think it'd be crazy to try rush him back. Not rush him back, but it's just like, it's like with Ivy's broken leg. Like, remember how there is an outcome where he could have come back, the last week or 2 of the regular season, but it's like Tatum's still young. Like, I just feel like you just give them the whole, I just don't think Tatum's going to play. That's just my gut feel. And even if he does, he's not going to be back until like after the All-Star break. And he's going to have to warm up. Yeah.
And I do feel like Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis, even if he does, I don't know if they're going to trade Kristaps, but I feel like Jaylen Brown, he's a finals MVP. Like, he's really good. And I feel like the only reason why we won that game when we did play them by a lot is because they didn't have Jaylen Brown that day. So I feel like Jaylen Brown is still good, but I feel like without their core piece of Jason Tatum, they won't really achieve much, just like how they didn't really achieve much in this playoff. Like, I feel like this got to be one of the craziest playoffs. I feel like all young teams emerged,
Insane.
And now seeing OKC and Pacers in the finals, that's like crazy. Like I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be OKC Cavs, but the way Pacers blew out the Cavs in that series, it was crazy. I did not expect it, but yeah.
It's been insane. It's been really fun. Like, I've enjoyed watching the playoffs since the Pistons left. Like, I've actually really enjoyed it. So it's made me miss the Pistons a lot more because, like, I just want to watch them more in the playoffs. But no, it's been a fun playoffs. But Prince, I'm going to bring up Maddie, but I've just got to say a massive thank you to all your family members for the super chats. Shout out to Marcos. Shout out to your Aunt Lauren. And I'm not weighing in on this debate of MSU and Michigan because
MSU.
I stand in the middle. I'm not taking any sides. But no, I appreciate you, man, and thank you so much to all your family for their support. It's really cool. So appreciate them joining the show, and of course, always appreciate you being here first up and always so ready to go, man. So thank you so much.
Of course. Well, you have a great day or night, whatever time it is in Melbourne. You live in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, it's daytime. It's 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully we have some more topics to talk about. It's been great.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Prince. See you, brother.
All right. See you, man.
All right, let's bring up my man Matty. I didn't think he was going to join us today, but he's surprised me, and I couldn't be happier to see him. What's going on, man?
Big Jack, what up, though?
My guy, I love that jersey you've got on.
Oh yeah.
So fresh.
Isaiah.
So fire.
Me and Prince both rocking the Legends today.
I know. I've got to get myself some retro Pistons jerseys. I don't have any.
Yeah, this one's a Mitchell. Mitchell and Ness make some decent ones.
Yeah. Did they ever wear that jersey?
No, I don't think so. They put this out for like the 75th anniversary. They put it out for that.
Got you, guys. That's so fire. I love it. Well, bro, I'm not sure if you caught the start, but the first thing we open the show off is, and it's titled, is who to re-sign. And I think that there is a world where the Pistons could bring back Beasley, THJ, and Schröder all on deals that work for the team. But just to make it interesting, if you could only re-sign two of those players, maybe you only want to re-sign one, I'm not sure. But if you could only re-sign two, who would it be of Beasley, THJ, and Schröder, based on what you saw in the playoffs and last season?
I think gotta bring back Beasley and gotta bring back Schröder. But like you said, on deals that work, basically. But I know I heard you talk about like the mid-level exception. I think that's probably what ends up happening with Beasley, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we end up, they fill out their cap space and then they end up signing him.
I think so, because YouTube users seem to be all across this, because I was pulling out some big terms that I still haven't fully learned. But
right.
So YouTube user, if you're still watching, correct me. Can the Pistons offer this non-taxpayers mid-level, which is around 14 million, I believe, to Beasley?
Right.
If they do that, I think, though, they can't sign free agents with that remaining 18 million of cap space. I think they can only bring back guys. I could be wrong there, but if YouTube users watching, let me know. But regardless of that, I'm with you. I think probably he's going to be looking in the range. Like Bees probably wants like 20 million a year, but I think what the Pistons could probably offer and what the market would be, I think around 12 to 14 annually makes sense for him.
Right, that's what I think too.
I know Bees is your favorite player, so you're going to agree with me here. But I just don't. It kind of annoys me sometimes that I know at the end of the day, the playoffs is what matters the most.
Right.
And Bees, he struggled a little bit, but it's like at the same time, the process to get to the playoffs, we haven't been here much in the last 15 years.
Right.
And it's like the amount of times Bees saved this team in quarters, in clutch moments, in the regular season with his shot making, like especially without Ivy, like he was incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I feel like some fans want to go, oh well, he sucked in the playoffs, so let's just sign him. He's not worth 13 million. He's worth let's try and get him for cheap. And it's like, well, I just I don't agree with that. Even if I do agree he struggled in the playoffs, I just
Right,
think
yeah.
he was so important in the regular season.
Yeah, he was huge in the regular season, that's for sure. So that's why I think we definitely got it. And I think he wants to come back. So I could see him, having a deal, making a deal work, basically.
I agree. Like, and I just think like, in terms of like we all talk about how it was like, oh, as soon as we got Cade shooting, like it unlocked him, like he become a top 15 player
Right,
in a
right.
season. Like, and it's like, yeah, you need to keep Malik Beasley. Like,
Yeah,
we can't,
exactly. And like, I think he's
yeah,
priority number one just because of that. Like, we need the 3-point shooting, and I think
yeah,
he was just huge for us in that regard this season. So,
yeah. And honestly, that's why, like, I would like to maybe see them upgrade Tim Hardaway Jr. in the sense of like, not what he brought offensively, but obviously on the other side of the ball. But at the
right.
same time, if there's not that guy there and there's not like, I'm fully on board with bringing back THJ because even though he is very streaky, like he was good in the playoffs, I thought. And like, he's just such a threat. Like, you have to defend him. And just
Right,
being able
right.
to have one of him or Beasley on the floor at all times, I think is so crucial to what Cade needs to have his success.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind bringing Hardaway back. Even, because injuries are going to happen, and he was just great filling in for injuries, basically. So even just to come around for that, you come back for that, I think it'd be probably on like a vet minimum, but I would bring him back for
Yeah.
that for sure.
Definitely. Well, I was listening to I want to shout out Bryce Simon, Motor City Hoops on the Pistons Pulse. They had on Keith Smith, who's like a bit of a cap guru on Twitter. And he was just talking about it's almost like you wish you could swap the contracts that THJ and Beasley were on last season.
Right.
Bees was on 6 and then THJ was 16. It's like you could just flip those and come in with something like that. That's like pretty much
Right.
accurate. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And sorry, so obviously Beasley was the one you would bring back. Who was the second player? Sorry.
I think I would try to bring back Schröder because he was for us in the playoffs, and I feel like he's a good backup for Cade. So I think I'd try to bring him back.
And I think as well, equally like the like him alongside Ivy would help JI a lot too. Like
Right, yeah, to where he can just focus on scoring when that'd be perfect for Ivy.
because I think maybe like I think Ivy you definitely want him to be on the ball and playmaking, but I still think Ivy's best suited like kind of attacking off the ball a little bit more at this stage of his career. So I think having someone like Schröder next to him who can set up the offense if JI is struggling a little bit, like would help him
Right.
a lot. So
yeah, I definitely like it. And but I feel like if they don't bring Schröder back, it wouldn't be the end of the world because we kind of have options with Marcus Sasser, Ivy coming back. So,
and there's actually quite a few backup point guards. Like there's Tyus Jones, who I know he was with the Suns this season, who's a free agent once again. I'm not sure how much it would cost, but like there is like some backup point guards out there, veteran ones they might be able to get. Because my concern with Schröder is like I want him back, but like a team like Dallas who are desperate for a point guard without Kari might just put a better offer on the table.
Even have money for a good offer like that?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure they could go, we're going to start you for 70 games until Kyrie's back. Whereas in Detroit,
I forget about that.
Like that, like, and maybe they can offer him the mid-level, which might be like 10, 11 million, which I don't know if the Pistons are going to be able to offer Schröder something like that. But like, that's just just scenario. Maybe Dennis absolutely loves his time in Detroit and's like, no, I want to come back for at least another season. So, we'll see. Oh, YouTube user here corrects me. Dallas has no money, like you said.
That's
Maddie,
right.
so.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, man. I think they got a lot of cap space time. Right. Yeah.
Actually, I got a trade for you then. So, and Sam Vecini said this on the Game Theory podcast. They did a really good off-season preview for the Pistons.
Okay.
They proposed a sign and trade with Dallas to send Schröder to the Mavericks, and we get back PJ Washington. So
I would fill that up. Right. Yeah. We need a 4, so I would definitely do that.
So like, yeah, I was like, that sounds really good because I think
Right,
PJ
right.
was before they had Cooper Flag, he was incredibly valuable to them, and they can probably maybe get a better offer somewhere else. But obviously, Schröder would help them a lot with what they need. So,
Right, right.
I definitely feel like
Yeah,
most Pistons
I
fans.
would do that trade, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like PJ, even though he's got into a few fights with Pistons players over the years, I think
Right.
he would be.
And at this
I think
point, who
he'd be.
hasn't? It's crazy.
That's a good point, actually. That's a great point. I think he would be. I mean, you talk about like maybe Tobias having his last season as a starter at least this upcoming
Right, right.
season. Like I think PJ would step in and I mean, he's not probably as skilled as Tobias as like a post-up player, but he's just as good, maybe better shooter. He's younger, more
Right, right.
athletic. So definitely would fill that future 4 position. So I would love that trade. I'm not sure Dallas fans
Yeah,
might
that would
just
work
laugh
for
at
me,
us, but
right.
yeah. But okay, so I think a lot of like I'm with you. Beasley and Schroeder would be the 2 I want to bring back.
Right.
Just because of what you spoke about. And I think Dennis, like, who was I talking with the other day? We were talking about how like that 3 he made in game 2, like just
Oh
to
yeah,
like
that was
ice
like
that game.
that was like the dagger of the game. That really was.
Yeah. Like he really was he had some really nice moments in the playoffs and the regular
Right.
season and like made some really key shots. So
And I could only
yeah,
imagine with the whole off season with an actual training camp with us, I feel like he'd be even better for us, honestly.
oh exactly. Yeah, he just got thrown in after the trade
Right,
deadline.
yeah, for real. He got thrown right in the mix and did a pretty good
I-
job.
Oh, absolutely. And man, that's what I'm like. I can't wait. You bring up a training camp. Like I didn't have this on the outline, but just I cannot wait to see Ron Holland and Asar Thompson
Oh
after
man,
a
for
full
real.
off season, man. Because like Asar still hasn't had like a proper off season because obviously after his rookie season
Right,
he's dealing
yeah.
with blood clots. Like we like I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but like obviously Amen this season was incredible with the
Yeah, he was
Rockets.
really good. He made, I think, all defensive second team, or I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was
Yeah.
huge this year. I'd love to see Asar
Like,
with an actual summer like he got, because I think he'd be right there with him.
Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be like Amen's kind of his ball handling and stuff is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a little ahead of
but,
Asar. It really is.
but still, like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of Pistons Twitter constantly talking about trades. I'm like, Ron Holland, Asar, like we haven't even these guys aren't even
Right.
scratching the surface. Like,
And
let's just
any
make sure we've got minutes for these guys.
right, and any trade scenario you see, it's like we're giving 3 of them away to get one guy back. Basically, it's just like, man, that's tough to do at this point. It really is.
I agree. I'm all with you on that, Maddie. I know it's a bit of a boring time of the off season where we're running out of things to talk about, but trading these young guys who I just think what we saw in the playoffs in the regular season, like, they're going to be really good. I don't want to see any of them leave.
Yeah, I'd love to see him run it back basically with like a couple minor upgrades and tweaks.
Yeah. I think like sometimes I think as well, like, can you just go into that a little bit more about what you mean by run it back? Because I think I've noticed some fans. Yeah, I'll let you explain first.
I would say, so probably same starting lineup, at least for one more season, with Ivy, with Cade, Ivy, Asar, Tobias, and Duran as a starting lineup. And then for a bench, I'd like to see, Dennis back, Beasley back, then, Ron Holland at the 3, then at the 4, obviously we, try to upgrade there. And at the 5, Stewart.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm with you on that for sure. That's exactly how I feel. I think some fans, when people say run it back, they just think like literally bring back the exact same team, don't make any minor adjustments anywhere. And like that, I don't know. I just see people getting attacked for saying run it back. And I'm like, that's my definition of running it back. Minor adjustment, like you said, upgrade the backup 4, maybe you upgrade the THJ position. But yeah, I think we just pushed the Knicks to 6 in a crazy competitive series.
Right, yeah, with injuries. So it's like I'd love to see him get a full season,
Same. Absolutely. Well, speaking of, the next thing I wanted to ask you, Matty, was we did it with Prince. Prince had us at a 2 seed for next season, which I
Right.
love. I'm going to go through the top 8 teams in the East.
Okay.
And as I say, this is from this season, and I want you to say if the Pistons will finish higher or lower next season.
Okay.
I know this is a bit of fun because obviously things can change this offseason, but we still know a little bit about next season with injuries to Tatum, potentially Giannis moving.
Right.
So the first team we'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. They
Higher.
finished 8th, higher. This one's interesting. I'm with you. This one's interesting. The Orlando Magic finished 7th.
See, I agreed with you and Prince on that, and I could see them, probably getting better, but I still think we probably finish higher than them.
I agree. I think the Magic will be better. I just, like you said, I think the Pistons took a massive leap and are slightly ahead of the Magic now.
Right.
After this season. Obviously, the Pistons finished 6th, so I'll go. The Bucks were 5th.
Yeah, I think we should finish higher than them. The Dame, even if they keep Giannis, which, who knows if they will, I think we'll still finish higher than them.
I think so too. I think even with Giannis, like you said, I think the Pistons should be a better team. Like, they don't have Dame.
Right.
Brook Lopez could be gone. Like, he's a key piece. He's a Pistons killer. So,
man, for years.
Yeah, I swear he comes to LCA or even at their home court and he's hitting logo threes.
Yeah, I'm going to say, pencil him in for 5 3-pointers every time he comes to Detroit, basically. It's nuts.
Literally, and just blocks every shot.
Right.
I'm with you as well. I think the Pistons are above the Bucks. This is where it gets interesting. So currently right now, our Pistons are sitting 5th in the East. The 4th seed from last season was the Indiana Pacers. Higher or lower?
I would say maybe lower, just because they're just a good regular season team too. So I could see them finishing with a decent record.
Yeah, and I think I heard something like since 2025 they've lost like 8 games. Like they're like 35-8, including the playoffs. So they really just started. Yeah, they just started last season really slow, and then obviously just turned into a different team. And look, they're the only team I hate in the NBA, but I have to give them their flowers. They have been.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough to give them their flowers. I'm like, man.
Oh, it's like, yeah, I have to give them their respect, but I still hate them. Moving on, I'm with you. The most I'll say is I've got them higher than the Pistons next season.
Right.
The New York Knicks, another interesting team.
This is a coin flip, honestly. I'm not sure. I feel like we could finish higher than them. It all depends on how the season goes for each of them, but I don't know how their cap space situation is, like how much they can actually improve.
They've got none.
Yeah, that's what I figured. They're probably tied up because they got a lot. They're paying that starting lineup a lot of money. So if they're not going to be able to improve that bench, they might regress at least a little bit next year. So I could see us finishing higher than them, I would say.
Okay, so we are currently sitting at the 3 seed, I believe. So the Boston Celtics were the 2nd seed. And they've got a lot going on. I think YouTube users said it here. Boston could stealth tank this season. I don't think they will, but it's definitely an outcome.
Right. I could see that as a possibility too. I could see us definitely finishing with a better record than them. That's for sure. Because like you said, they got so many, contracts that they're going to have to probably move because they just can't afford to pay them. The Tatum injury, that's huge to them. I could see them still probably making the playoffs as a lower seed next year, but I think we'll probably finish with a higher record than them.
Okay. Last team. So the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you think if you say higher, the Pistons are a 2 seed? If you say lower, we're in the 3 seed.
I think we don't finish higher than them too, because just like the Pacers, they're such a good regular season team. Like they just rack up a lot of wins. So
yeah, I'm with you. I think the Cavs are going to be really good again.
Right. I could see them keeping that somewhat the same pace. Honestly, they might lose a few more games than they did this year, but they'll definitely be up there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, and the thing I like, so you had the Pacers, Cavs higher, Pistons third. Even if I maybe just have the Knicks slightly ahead and I have us at fourth,
That's
what's
a coin
really,
flip for me.
yeah, I agree. I think just with where everything is right now, all four of those teams like pretty much have good roster continuity, like in terms of bringing back guys. Mate, I still don't see the Cavs making a big trade, and I think that's what also gives me faith. I'm not against the Pistons making some roster moves to upgrade. But if they do bring back a lot of the same players, you have that continuity and chemistry. And I wouldn't expect a slow start like we had last season. If anything, because you're going to have your same, like last season, we had a few new players, obviously new coach, lots of change. But I think there's a lot of value for the regular season, at least, and getting a good start in bringing back the same team if you had success. So just another little reason as to why I'm like all for running it back to, like we discussed, just for next season.
And like you said, continuity. It feels like we haven't had continuity on this team in so long that, man, I'd love to see him run it back just for that alone, just to have some continuity, basically.
I agree, definitely. Because if they make changes, like there's going to be a feeling out process or whatever you want to call it, that they might start slow. But I like it. I think that's, with where the East looks right now, that's fair. Maybe last thing on this, do you see any of these teams? This is just for pure fun. The Bulls, Miami, Raptors, or Philly. Do you see any of them making a weird jump?
Let's see. Philly is, I don't know if they can improve much. Just because the Embiid situation, you don't know what you're getting out of Paul George. But I don't know. Maxey, he came, and they got Jared McCain coming back. So they might be a little better, but I don't know how much they'll jump. And then the Sixers, they just got who? Brandon Ingram?
The Raptors, yeah, they got Ingram.
Or yeah, the Raptors, they just got Brandon Ingram and then Scotty. I could see them improving a little bit, but I don't know how big of it. And then what was the other team?
I think I said Miami and Chicago. The
Miami
veterans in the play-in every season.
Right. Honestly, they're destined to meet in the play-in every year, so I think they'll be right back next year, honestly. But if I had to look at any of those teams, I'd say maybe the Raptors will make a jump just because they're young. And they got some decent players over there, so.
I agree. I think they added Ingram. I'm not sure if they're a massive threat to our Pistons, but I think they could definitely make a jump.
Right.
That, 6 or 7 spot. And they are one team that could maybe get Giannis, but we'll see what happens there. But Matty, is there any other topics you want to cover while we've got you on the stream here?
I got the Slam Mag. So I got the gold jersey, right? Had to bring out the golden Slam Mag too.
That's fire. Oh, and that's this year's jersey.
Yep.
Love it.
They made 94 of those. That's 88 of 94.
Wow. That's incredible.
Right. I got to get that jersey too. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I wonder, I'm sure they'll drop those. When did they those City Edition jerseys, do they normally drop them before the season?
I was wondering the same thing because I've never really waited for a jersey like this, kind of, because I think this is the earliest they've really ever revealed them. So I was wondering the same thing, when do they actually drop? Is it for maybe this summer, I'm guessing?
Yeah, potentially. Or maybe it's
right.
It's close to regular season. I'm like you. I never even thought I could actually get the jerseys to Australia, so I never really paid much attention. But yeah, we'll see. Though I think those are going to look really cool on court. I think they're going to be nice.
And then we're supposed to have a new statement edition this year too, I think. So hopefully they'll reveal that soon.
I think hopefully.
Right.
I think
fingers crossed for a red one.
We need I was saying a Prince. The Reds are my red alternate jerseys are my favorites.
Yeah, those are definitely my favorite.
They look awesome, on court. You can wear them anywhere. They look sick. All right, Matty. Well, thank you so much for jumping on, man. Like I said, I didn't think you could be able to join tonight, but it's been awesome
right. Last minute edition.
Appreciate you jumping on, brother. And
no problem.
Soon.
Yep. All right, Jack. Go Pistons.
See you, man. Let's go.
Later.
All right. Appreciate Maddie and Prince. I'm going to go to some comments here in the chat. Shout out to you, Jonathan. Appreciate the donation, my man. Very, very generous. Appreciate all the donations today. It just helps keep the show going, and I really appreciate all your support. So, okay, so we got some stuff here we got Ryan. What up, though? What up, Ryan? What's going on, brother? We got YouTube user here. So he's helping me explain this mid-level contract that I was butchering a little bit. So the Pistons can't sign a free agent from other teams and get the full mid-level. Okay, so he then follows up with the Pistons can retain all cap holds and get the full mid-level, but you can only use those cap holds to sign those players. If at any point you drop below the cap, you lose the mid-level and get the room exception. Okay, cool. That makes sense. That makes sense to me then. So if they use a mid-level and Bs, then yeah, they can't just go use that 18 million to go sign Nas Reed or something. So appreciate you, YouTube user, filling that all out. My man Derek Brown, what's going on, brother? We should draft that 7'4" dude from Australia for Jack, the lefty. Because we only have a second round pick this season. I'm low-key hoping they use it selfishly on an Australian just to have one on the team. But there is some interesting names. So Derek's obviously talking about Rocco Zakarsky, who YouTube user brings up here. So Rocco I remember my season at the NBL, we added him. He was only 17 and he joined the Brisbane Bullets, which is one of the teams. He was only, like I said, 17. He was meant to be like a top 10 pick in this year's draft, but I think he's got a lot. He's tall, he's skilled, he's a good shot blocker, but I think just physically he's got to add a fair bit of like strength and try and get a little bit more agility and quickness. But he could be a nice project player to add if the Pistons need, because one of the things besides like the backup 4 position, which I think is probably the biggest need right now, a true 7-foot center at the third string center is probably the other thing they need. And Stu was relatively not injured this season apart from when it mattered the most, but and JD was pretty healthy this year, but those two guys do tend to miss, you wouldn't be surprised if they miss 10 to 20 games in a season just with their history. So having that true 7-foot center to replace one of them would help. Whether or not you want a project in Rocco to be that is another question, but low-key, I'd love to have Rocco. I still remember his first ever NBL preseason game. He put up 26 points and like 5 blocks against, I think it was California Baptist or something. So there's plenty of potential there. But I think that's going to do it for today's stream. Plenty of fun, 52 minutes. We're going to be doing these each and every Friday at 8 p.m. through the whole off season. So if you ever have any topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot them into the chat as we're discussing. Shoot me a DM. But if you want to join the Pistons Jack subscriber, we got one more thing here from YouTube user. I talked to Bryce about the draft and stash with Rocco. He would stay in Australia next season and hopefully be a third big the year after. Okay. That would be cool. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously draft and stash, they do not count towards your roster or anything. You just have the rights. So that would work really well. Because I think he is a season away, like you said. He just didn't have the progress this last NBL season. Then Brisbane were in a weird area where their coach had to make the playoffs, so he didn't get fired. So he ended up just going away from playing Rocco. Rocco also wasn't that good, but it just wasn't a good mix this last season. But 7'4" big man, if you can get him, if you can develop him slowly and nicely, that's a very, very useful player in the NBA. But like I said, that's going to do it for today's show. If you want to join the Pistons Jack subscriber community, head over to our Instagram, hit the subscribe button. There's a small fee, but we have a group chat. You can come up on these streams. You get priority to all our other live streams. We do giveaways. It's just little community we're building over there on top of all the amazing people we already have all across our social channels. But plenty more info there in the description. But thank you everyone for joining today's show. Had a lot of fun, and I think we're probably going to have another quietish week until after the finals conclude before it really starts to heat up. But I'm really excited for what potential changes could be on the horizon and all the off-season discussion around this team. But thank you so much to you all for joining.